When Batman first took on the Xenomorphs down in the Amazonian rainforest, the story was self-contained, mature, grounded, plausible, and very enjoyable. The sequel, which arrived 6 years later, to all intents and purposes is batshit insane. The story is set back in Batman's stomping ground Gotham, with some construction workers accidentally releasing a Xeno trapped underground for almost a century after discovering a 20th century explorer's findings. Yes, it's a little contrived that after the first comic the next Xeno outbreak happens in Gotham, but believe me, the opening segments of the second comic are by far the most sensible comparatively. Come the end, we'll see all sorts of crazy stuff, the freakiest of which is Xenomorph Batman villain hybrids, including the likes of a Two-Face Xenomorph, a Joker one, and a Killer Croc one. They all talk and act like their human counterparts, only with the added threat and weirdness of being acid-blooded Xenomorphs. It is a bit silly and does stretch your suspension of disbelief, but since the first comic did it straight-laced so well, why not run away with the insanity in the sequel? Whilst the initial plot sees Batman attempting to contain the outbreak of Xenos in Gotham, it slides slowly into the generic stopping the shady, greedy organisation from wanting to study or weaponize the Xenomorphs plotline that Alien fans are all too familiar with. Looking back at both comics, the Batman vs Aliens template seems to loosely follow the first two Predator movies. In the first Predator movie, our commandos land in the jungle, some with more sinister intentions than others, for a mission which ends with them being stalked by an extraterrestrial. The second takes place back into the city, and like with the movie, Batman vs Aliens Part 2 has a lot more to play with. Because Batman can utilize the Batcave, we see a lot more of his toys here. We see characters like Commissioner Gordon and the already mentioned villains like the Joker and Two-Face. It's really interesting to see these characters from the Batman universe in an Alien storyline and how they react to the story and the events that take place. There's a thrilling segment where the aliens break into Arkham Asylum, which was dark and contained some brutal scenes of face-tearing, chest-bursting carnage. The crazy story is emphasized by the vivid color scheme of the comic. Gone are the dim, moodily lit, dead corridors of the first comic, which are instead replaced by the bright lights of Gotham's living, breathing city. The colours are so bright and contrast so well with each other, the standout for me being the ghost white Xenomorph and the thick red blood of its victims dripping from its tail. I really like the design of the Xenomorphs in this one. They are lighter coloured, slimmer and slicker, with their tails flicking and cracking like whips, as opposed to the sturdy and brutish aliens from the first comic. It's a nice change of pace and it's nice on the eyes. They remind me of the Neomorphs from Ridley Scott's most recent Alien film. I did find it a bit simplistic how a lot of Batman's foes are dispatched. Too often a Deus Ex Machina explosion saves the Caped Crusader and takes out a slimy Xenomorph or the hybrids that show up during a weird gladiator competition towards the end. Running and hiding were the primary options in the first one, and straight up punching an alien in the face does reduce its fear factor, which is a common method of combat in this one. Saying that though, it would be unfair to say there wasn't creativity during the fight scenes. One satisfying segment sees Batman pinned under by a Xeno and he uses his batarang to shoot through the Xenomorph and pull down a chandelier, shattering upon the alien. Personally, I felt Batman's inner dialogue could have been done better. The first comic provided great insight into Batman's thinking, and I mentioned in my review how one particular line resonated quite heavily. In this one, the lines are pretty much there to provide exposition. They also seem a lot dumber, a lot less sophisticated. All in all though, there is some truly great artwork in Batman Aliens 2. The story was a little too senseless for me, with the villain-alien hybrids being the worst offenders. I definitely preferred the part set in nighttime Gotham with chasing the alien around the city. For me, it goes off the rails in the final act. I liked it though, and I give it a 7 out of 10.